welcome back to the Brown Señoritas. We are so excited to be back. This is always so fun for me.
I know. It's the highlight of my day/night, because...
And yes.
It's the highlight of my week.
Okay, yes, true.
It really is so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode, we want to kind of get started with a little bit of a story of how this podcast is coming to be.
Yes.
Because we started this podcast I did not know anything about microphones and headphones and computers and sound, like literally zero. Like actually negatives. Like negative.
Like we're stupid.
To put it lightly, we are so dumb at this stuff. So we have been doing so much learning about microphones and sound, and so it's been quite apparent that our first couple episode sounds were a little rough. We were like, it's gonna get better, but we finally figured out what the issue was. We bought these cute little microphones, and
apparently they were just for decor
they
this whole
have been
time.
Decoration.
It's just looking nice.
They each costed a little over $100.
Yeah. And we're like, we have not been using them. The last few episodes have been solely recorded on a computer microphone, and we were completely unaware up until today. So
literally, we're watching our episodes. We're like, why does this sound so bad?
Like,
and
why
echoey?
is there so much echo? Like, why can't we
hear
hear
you?
Carol?
I have a voice. I'm here.
So let's just kind of pretend that this is our first episode.
Yeah.
Yes, things are getting better. We have a friend that came over today and helped us.
Shout out Bruno. We love you so much.
He
Super
is amazing.
obrigada.
Yes, obrigada, Bruno.
Obrigada.
Honestly, like, we think that this is going to work out. The audio is going to be better. Camera is going to be better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the camera was such an issue. The recording was an issue. Like, every episode, something has gone wrong. I mean, not catastrophically bad, but
in
still
a funny
just
way.
Like an inconvenience.
People were like, oh, cute.
They're
podcast.
trying.
I'll keep hanging out. No.
Shout out to those loyal few that were like, these guys are so awesome. And when we're like, okay, but we really don't know what we're doing.
This makes me want to throw up. No, but legit, it's good. It's going to be good.
Yeah, and
honestly, it sounds better right now.
I know. Just like hearing ourselves in the microphone, I'm like, this is what the microphone's supposed to sound like.
Yes. We got it.
Not the computer microphone.
And I'm glad we got it by the third.
Right.
It wasn't like our 10th or 12th.
I know. I would have given up on this.
But we can't give up. We bought the sign.
It was too much money.
But we are here, and and this is kind of a cute, symbolic way of leading into this episode. We have been learning a ton.
True.
Just about this podcast. I have learned about sound systems and all these things in just these last couple weeks. And so this episode, I kind of want to reflect. I'm 28. You're 28. You're almost 29.
Yeah.
You're 26.
27.
Yeah. Like, we have lived quite a few years. We have quite a few years under our belt. And so I kind of...
a century.
This episode, more than quarter of a century.
Yeah.
Like, we're nearing our 30s. Mm-hmm. But that's okay, because 30s are the new 20s.
Yeah.
So, and we're young. We're young, and we are hot, and we are 30.
I'm excited to be 30. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but I am.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so pumped. Like, in school, we talk about...
She's like, I can't agree.
I'm good.
No, I'm so excited. We are boss babes at 28, 29.
And I'm not gonna lie, like, I see my aunts, they're obviously older than us, and their skin is just amazing. And I honestly think, I mean, not to brag, but like Latino or like darker skin, I honestly think ages slower. So we're gonna be looking good in our 30s. We're gonna literally be looking like we're 24, 25.
Yes!
We got it.
That's the hope. I do use sunscreen every day. That's my one hope in life.
Okay, that's a life lesson. Okay, the question was, I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
What are some things that you know now that you're like, dang, I wish I had known that 10 years ago? Or I wish I had known that in my early 20s. And I'm going to just kind of follow up with what you just said.
Okay.
I use sunscreen every day. Rain or shine, summer, winter, whatever it is, sunscreen every single day. Because we are not aging this face.
I'm religious about my sunscreen. Girl, I'm going to get you one.
I have some.
Okay, then you better start using.
As often as I brush my teeth, I put on sunscreen. Like, first thing I do in the morning, contacts, brush teeth, SPF on my face.
Nice.
That's just like, and granted, I don't think I've like damaged my face permanently, but like, I wish I had started that earlier. The SPF.
No, you're totally fine.
Yeah.
It's because, I mean, we like to be in the sun a lot, so I guess
I love being in the sun. I love tanning. I honestly don't care if I get like the chest wrinkles. Like, I don't care about that.
Give me all the wrinkles.
Give me all the wrinkles, just not on my face.
There you go.
Just, it tells you a story. I had fun.
Right. I laid out a ton.
Oh, that's true.
Spanish Fort Res.
I was there.
I was there.
Yes. All right. So, question is,
what are some things that you know now as a 28, 29-year-old, 27-year-old that you're like, oh my gosh, if I had known this in my early 20s, life would have been quite a little bit easier?
Yeah,
That's a hard question. Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay,
maybe
I
have
have
it all
a few
together.
things too that I can.
I think the main one that has been, I guess, the most life-changing because I have chosen to do what I wanted to do. And I think it honestly stems a lot from, like, being a good girl my whole life, always doing what my parents told me to do, along with, obviously, the religious background that I have. And it was always like, these are the things I have to do in this life in order to be happy, right? And it wasn't my own checklist. This is someone else's checklist
that was given to you.
Yeah. And so I think ever since I started choosing for myself, I have felt so much better. And maybe I'm kind of also glad that I didn't get to like know this earlier too, because maybe I would have done a lot more dumber things. Is that like right grammar? I don't even know. So it almost like it kind of worked out when I honestly can't remember. Once I turned 25, I'm like, this is it. This is when I'm gonna do all the things literally that I was told not to do and see how I feel about it. And that's when I honestly...
25 was a very changing year for me as well.
Yes.
You honestly, just wake up.
Not so great, but great.
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was good because that's the year that I started doing things for myself. I didn't care what anyone else thought about me. I mean, I got a freaking nose piercing, right? And that was like...
the biggest deal of it all.
It was.
I got a tattoo that year too.
Oh, nice.
Wait, what tattoo?
I have
the moon?
I have a little moon.
Wait, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
I don't think you were 25?
Yeah, I was 25.
Oh, wow.
I might have been 26.
Still,
I was young.
Later.
The point is...
later 20s. So I think that for me, again, it's kind of bittersweet because I am glad that I found out that I can do things for myself at the time that I found out. But I'm also like, oh man, looking back at all those years that I could have done other things for myself instead of what other people wanted me to do. And when I mean people, it's honestly mostly family because I love my family and I never want to give disappointment or give my family name like a bad name because it's been generations of like a good name that's been carried along.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like for my children, or at least my child right now, I want her to have the foundations I had to, but also with the knowledge that she can do things for herself. And it's on me to teach her, like, hey, these are things that can teach you or, like, bring you happiness, not just, like, short-term happiness, but, like, everlasting happiness. And I also have to realize that she will make decisions of her own that I'm not going to be happy about and that I know are not going to be good, like, turn out good. But... honestly, that's just how we learn.
That's life.
That's the only way we can learn. That's the only way. You can't force somebody to learn something.
You can't skip the lesson.
Yeah. No,
it's so true.
Yeah, I think that for me, and I'm still choosing myself, and obviously I have to, it's not just me anymore, it's obviously my family, my husband and child, but and I'm grateful that I am with someone that lets me still choose me and not, what they want me to do. Yeah. Obviously there's still respect and I know what he doesn't like and he knows what I don't like.
Right.
But I feel like I can still be myself. And then honestly, like, this has also been like the year that I have, in a way, I don't want to say let go of myself, but I've been so comfortable in my body. And you know what? I'll go for a walk, but I'm not looking at the numbers. And this is the year that I have felt like okay finally with myself. And if I would have seen myself like 5 years ago how I look now, I'm like, what the heck, what happened? But knowing that she was happier than that girl from 5 years ago or even 10 years ago, it's like, oh, maybe 20-year-old Gato would be like excited to be 28, 29 Gato because she knows that she finally, maybe she doesn't have the college degree, maybe she doesn't have, I mean, I have a house. Never mind.
You got a lot going for you, actually.
Yeah, it actually all kind of worked out in like a short amount of time, but like at least know that I was finally happy with myself and happy with my body. Like obviously I know I can do improvements.
That's a major win.
It's crazy how I'm sorry, like I'm this young and I'm accepting of my body, and I see like older generations still not be okay with their bodies, and I'm like, dude, you're 50, you're 60, enjoy your time, but like, they're still so stuck in like,
think of how many years they've spent not being happy with themselves
and not loving themselves.
No, and I love that you said that, like, that's how you felt the most yourself, just kind of like doing what you felt was for you. And I think I went through that too, where I was like, these are the expectations that my family, my belief system like has for me, and it's been like an internal war for years, being like, I want to, like, there are so many things I want to do, and I want to
be
experience, and I want to be just like genuinely, like authentically myself. Yeah. But some of those things don't necessarily align with
family expectations,
right?
And religious expectations.
Yeah, and it's been a ride, but yeah. So the lesson, it's like, you gotta do you. Yeah, you gotta do what brings you peace, and like obviously there's like balance to all things, and like don't go overboard and start like
trying all sorts of
killing people or something. I don't know,
crazy
like,
substances.
I love that. That's a good lesson.
Being like authentic. Right?
And just one thing I'll mention that always stuck out to me is, I think it was Tony Robbins in one of his like convention things. I can't remember, but there was a man there that was like, my wife wants to divorce me and I don't know why. We've had such a happy marriage. And Tony Robbins asked this guy, like, was your wife, did she give up her college to like take care of children? He's like, yeah, she was always so supportive. And so he starts asking her questions, and you come to realize that this woman has chosen to not live her life in order to help her husband progress at work, and not having to worry about like the kids so he can go to the meetings, so completely
sacrificed a lot.
Exactly. And obviously she got to the point when she's 50 years old and she's just snapped, and she's like, I'm done. First. Yeah, I've never put myself first. Like, you got ahead because of me, and now I need to do that for myself. And she's, I think they were like around their 50s. And so that's why you hear sometimes like marriage or like divorces at like 50, 60. And you're like, what the heck? Like, you need to spend the rest of your life with this person.
You've been with this person for so long.
Yeah, but it's because sometimes probably women, I mean, and not to be like, biased about, genders, but it has been mostly women that have been the ones at home sacrificing their college and staying home with the kids, their bodies, and you just get to a point that you just snap. And I remember hearing that. I'm like, I don't want to be like a 45-year-old mom and snap and like, in a way, maybe break apart my family because I didn't put myself first. And so, yeah, that also I remember watching that video, and it was just like, oh yeah, I need to put myself first right now. Yeah. So whoever I meet in my life can understand that, and there's already that expectation. And if they want to join me for their ride, they can.
And it's a team thing. It's like, you let me shine and I let you shine. Like, it's not like I'm gonna be like the only one that does everything, and you just stay there and wait.
Look pretty or whatever.
One day it'll be your turn, but no,
it's not gonna work.
Just like, it's a teamwork thing. Yeah. Okay, now this is a marriage podcast brought to you by the most single human that's ever lived.
I've only been married like 2 years. I know everything.
So funny. I mean, you learn enough.
Yeah.
Oh, that is such a good lesson. Yeah. That is definitely something I wish I knew 10 years ago. Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Like, imagine like going back in time.
Oh my gosh. Well,
okay, 10 years ago I was 17.
Yeah.
If I could go back in time and look at myself and be like, Desi, put yourself first. I didn't have anyone in my life at that time, 10 years ago, that was concerned about teaching me this. I don't know why. And it's not like bad parenting. I just think our parents, they can't think of everything. No. You know, it's too much. But if I could go back in time and tell me that and tell myself that, like, don't put this person, this idea, this, like, whatever it is, above yourself. Because I think I would have been happier and I would have made completely different decisions in my life.
Yeah.
I really would have. It defines your future.
Yeah. Well, and I think unfortunately, like, our parents' generation didn't have that luxury of like, totally. No, I'm gonna put myself first, because it was very like you had to follow society rules or like society expectations. You know, if you were a 30-year-old single woman, it's like, what's wrong with you? Now it's like, oh, you're cool.
Yeah. But honestly, that's
now we're envious of you.
Yeah. That's such a good lesson to learn and to teach your kids in so many ways. Yeah. Because I have an experience that kind of like relates to what you said. So my parents divorced when I was 8. And I remember my mom leaving. And the way I took the situation, the way I like interpreted it was she left us or my dad this, right? And in a way, now that I've grown up and I have been able to like think about the whole thing again with a better developed brain, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad my mom left, because that was her putting herself first. Like, when you're young, you don't get it, you know, and you tend to blame and point fingers and don't understand. But she put herself first. And in a way, I wish she would have, like, communicated that situation in this way to me. Like, hey, Desi, like, or daughter, like, I'm going through this. I need to do this for myself. And I wish I would have, like, seen the situation in a different way. Because that's really what it was. Yeah. She was choosing herself. So I think it's so important for our parents to, like, also do those things and teach us by example and like communicate, this is why I'm doing this, right?
Because they're human too. Like, there was a period of my life too that I like looked at my parents and I was just like, they're not my, like, they are my parents, but I'm like, they're like my friends, and like my friends try to be the best person they can every day, and my friends make mistakes, and my friends can be kind of jerks sometimes, but you know, or like, but I love my friends. So I had to see them in a different role as like, instead of my parents, you know, my father and mother. It was just like, these are two individuals that have different needs. And right now in this moment of their life, they have to go different routes to really be okay with themselves or find peace, find healing. And that's the best they can do for themselves. And in return, that'll be the best thing for their children. If each individual parent is happy with their lives. It boggled my mind, like it helped me like with, I guess, like therapy helped me with that. Just seeing my parents is not just like a unit, but it's just like individuals with different needs and wants.
They're people,
human beings with real feelings and real desires. And I was just like, oh, so they're allowed to do anything they want. You know, they don't owe me anything. You know,
I mean,
whatever.
they do.
They do because they're my parents.
They made the decision to bring you here. They owe you
a lot. Yeah. But at the same time, they don't owe me to, like, have them, I don't know.
Like, lose themselves in the process.
Exactly.
That's not the point.
That's what and...
Totally.
And sometimes I think people look down on divorce. They're like, oh, we will never get divorced. But sometimes divorce is the
solution.
And sometimes it is the happy ending.
Absolutely.
And it's like, sometimes you gotta look out for yourself enough that you're like, this person is not my happiness or is not my...
People change too.
Right. Yeah, so it's like...
I know. I hate looking at divorce as, what a tragedy. Yeah. Because I heard that a lot growing up.
Yeah.
What a tragedy. And I'm like, the tragedy was staying in that marriage.
Yeah.
Honestly. And letting it go for so long. Yeah.
The tragedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not choosing themselves first.
Yeah. That's so important.
That's crazy.
Wow. Okay, Stacey, what is your lesson?
Okay, I wrote one down. And this lesson, let's see, that I've learned. Oh my gosh, if I didn't find it, this is terrible. I should be prepared. Okay. Okay, so I am awful at confrontation.
Oh.
Awful.
That's a heavy topic.
I know, and honestly, I think we could talk about this for like 8,000 million years. As
Latinos, that's a heavy topic.
Right.
I think, anyways.
I have such a hard time being like, hey,
I'm not okay with this.
I'm not okay with this, or hey, you hurt me, or hey, this does not fly. But I have learned that you have to have those hard conversations. Mm-hmm. You have to have those hard conversations, because if you don't have those hard conversations, if it's not hard now, it's gonna be hard later. So it's either you get it done, you're like, hey, listen, can we chat about this? This hurt me. This doesn't fly, whatever. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna just end up suffering. So it's honestly like, pick when you want to suffer. Pick a quick, short, maybe really awkward suffering right now. Mm-hmm. Or, you know what? Have suffering for a really long time and just like dwell in it for months and months and months and months. So it really is kind of a choice. Like, we're going to suffer regardless. Yeah. Like, this doesn't come, like, not all things
both are hard.
Easy peasy, right? And so I learned, and okay, I don't want to say like I learned like I've accomplished this perfectly, because this is far from where I am.
The working process.
It is a working process. Like, I am constantly like, okay, I'm having issues with this, or I'm having issues with this person, and 92% of the time I'm still like, it's okay, I'll just forget about it. But there are those moments where I'm like,
that's what I do.
Oh, no, truly.
I think most people.
Truly. But it's like, have the hard, like, honestly, like, grow a pair and just say it. And it might be awkward. So it might even, like, change a dynamic. It might change a friendship or something, but peace comes after that. Peace comes after you've gotten it off your chest, after you're like, let's try to solve this. Let's try to work through this.
Well, a lot of the times it's not just peace in a way of like, now I have peace of mind and I'm free to go, whatever. A lot of confrontation is the solution to the problem. Like, sometimes you have a problem with someone and then you talk to them and it wasn't what they meant whatsoever.
Sometimes it was
and you're
a complete misunderstanding, miscommunication. And they're like, wait, that's not what I meant at all when I said that. And then I'm like, oh, see, I thought you hated me.
I've been miserable for a couple weeks. And yet all you needed to do was talk about it.
Yeah. So that's my life lesson. Like, have the hard conversations. Like, genuinely. There's like this like stupid cliche line from a movie. We Bought a Zoo. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yeah. No.
Okay, so that movie,
it's a good movie.
It's a very like feel good, cute movie.
Yeah.
And like one of the lines, like one of the one-liners that they use is like 20 seconds of insane courage and something good happens or something like that. And I think about that all the time. I'm like, okay, I could just tell this person at work that this has been bothering me. And it might be a really awkward, weird 20 seconds of me being like, hey, will you stop, like, doing this? But then the problem's solved. Yeah. Or I could just not tell them, and then I'm just suffering every single day till summer, you know? Mm. So.
I like to believe that most people want to be better.
Yeah.
Genuinely. So if someone, like for me, like if someone has a negative feeling towards me, some kind of problem, I want to have them come talk to me because I want things to be better.
No.
So I don't, like, if I want them to come talk to me, I have to stop thinking that they don't want me to go talk to them.
That's true. Because there have been a couple instances, and I've seen this in a few friends. I had a friend a few years ago that would just kind of be pouty and sad, and I'd be like, hey, what's wrong? And they would be like, nothing. And I'm like, just tell me, like, just, like, talk to me, and let me, like, help and see if I can help or whatever. And then I had another friend who was like, hey Stace, it kind of bothers me when I text you and you don't text me back. Like, if we're making plans, you kind of just leave me on red for like a day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I am so sorry. Like, I didn't realize that was one, a big deal, or two, that it affected you. And now that you've told me, swear on my life, like, I am so aware that I will never do that again. And I, like, saw the difference in those two relationships, and I was like, that was so much better. I'm like, thank you for being brave with me. Like, hey, Stace, that bothered me. Like, stop leaving me on red. And I'm like, totally. Then the friend that was like, nothing's wrong. And I'm like, okay. Granted.
It just creates problems.
Yeah.
That's a lesson I have to learn, honestly.
Me too.
I struggle with that so hard.
Speaking of, I've got a few bones to pick with you guys.
Now that we're here,
let me just...
No,
totally.
That's such a good lesson to learn. Honestly, that's so valuable.
Remember on the mission though, like we would have companionship.
Oh my gosh!
Inventory. Those
were the worst times of my life.
Hermana, I was just like, girl, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, we're good.
Oh, mine always turn into like
sob fests. No, that's
like,
how I feel like I would
fights.
Oh.
And maybe that's a me problem. I don't know.
No, you're not the problem.
It was never.
It was your companion.
It was never.
So in those, I didn't go to
Good.
mission, so I don't know, but like from what I've gathered, companionship inventory is like every week you're like, hey, all these things that you did this week pissed me off. Can you not do that again?
Well, you want to like start with like the good ones.
You have to start with a prayer.
Oh yeah.
Compliment sandwich. Hey, you did this really awesome, but I hated that you did this.
Yes, that's literally how they teach you how to do it. And a lot of the times, okay, I'm not gonna be so negative. Like it did work. Like. It was good. And it needed to happen. Every single time, the conversations needed to happen.
My bestie, Michelle, she's my cousin, when she came home from her mission, she did that to me. And I was like, brother, I'm not a feelings person. I am not one to talk about my feelings. I am not one to ever be vulnerable. And she'd be like, can we sit down and chat about our relationship, like as roommates and cousins and friends? And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Like, that nothing makes me want to just, like, throw up more than, like, can we talk about our feelings? But she did.
It's so important.
And honestly, that girl is one of the best humans. And me and her have such a solid relationship.
That's so good.
Because she was like, hey, let's talk about what's going on. Guys, communication really do be everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
I don't know why I have a hard time with, like... Yeah, confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
why are we scared of that?
I honestly, and I've thought about this so much because I am literally confronted with confrontation in my job almost every day. Yeah. And I'm like, why? At first I wanted to crawl in the hole and like never see sunlight. Like I hated answering calls from like agents that were mad or, they had questions and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'll do what you want me to. Agents. Okay. Like other agents.
I heard Asians.
Oh, no.
Like, Asians that are mad.
No, real estate
how does that
agents.
relate to your job?
No. And so, anyways,
that's so funny.
And I struggle with it so much. I'm getting better at it. I'm not where I want to be, but I thought about it. I'm like, why am I like this? And I mean, not to like put my whole life on display, but I think it really had to do with how I was raised, and I've noticed that my whole family's like that. Like, if we have an issue, we know it's there, but we don't talk about it. And if we try to talk about it, one of them leaves the room because they don't want to have that confrontation.
I've tried to think of why I'm the way I am. And I'm like, do I avoid confrontation because, one, I don't want to make people feel bad? Or two, because I don't want to look like something bothers me. I don't want to be vulnerable in any way. And that's a big thing for me. I've struggled with vulnerability. I'm like, I want everybody to see me as everything is okay.
Yeah.
I do not suffer. I do not have emotions.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's not real.
No.
That's not real at all.
It's not healthy.
At all.
I think my fear of confrontation, the reason why it's hard for me is because I'm not good at handling it very well. I either get too sensitive or whatever. So I'm scared of things getting worse. So I'd rather pretend that nothing happened than to address it and make it a problem. Because sometimes that does happen, like where you address it and then it actually becomes a problem. And I don't want to believe that. I want to believe that every time you address it, it will get better.
I think
But that's my fear. It's like, this might get worse if I talk about it.
They're going to be so butthurt about... Yeah. But no, like you said, people want to be better. And I
because I want to believe...
Right.
I hope people do, too.
Like, if someone comes up to me like, hey, you did this and it hurt, it bothered me, or 99% of the time, I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't even realize, or whatever. I don't think most people are going to be like, no, actually, it's because you did. Like,
and if they do...
Then walk away. Not even worth it. If they attack you back, then just walk away.
That's how you, like, filter people in your
Oh my
life.
gosh, that's such an easy way to do it, too.
Yeah. Like, let me confront this person. Whatever reaction I get is how I make a decision if I want to keep you in my life. Honestly, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah. I've tried that.
What do you mean?
And it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. It actually went the complete opposite. But I think it actually... Like, for me, it's really hard to voice my opinion, my feelings, because I already think that the other person's not going to understand them. Yeah. So I'm like, well, then what's the point? Yeah. Because that has just been my experience, that the times that I've voiced how I felt, like, hey, I don't think this is good, that you did this, or whatever, the other person will always be like, well, no, I was like, kind of in a way gaslight me. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, like, what's the point? So that's been my experience with confrontation.
Wait. Yeah. I just like had an epiphany though. I do that too though sometimes. Like there have been moments in like especially like with my siblings.
Yeah.
My sister's like, hey, you did this. I'm like, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. And that's, I guess, where like humility has to come in.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
it's so hard.
I'm sorry I made you feel bad. It was not my intention, but like, and I guess it goes both ways. So I guess it doesn't always go like, you're right, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, totally.
Which I think with like work people that I'm not super close to, I'm like, that's how I usually handle that. But I just thought about my sister.
Like more personal things.
I love you, Yvette. I'm sorry.
It's different when you come from people that you're very comfortable with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are just...
You have to keep like a professional relationship or a friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. So my sister's not going anywhere. I'm gonna be mean to you because
I was gonna say I can't filter out some people. I mean, I could, right?
She should have filtered me out a long time ago, I guess.
It's just so hard.
But filtering someone out, that doesn't mean cutting them out of your life. It's okay. Now there's a boundary here.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you filter people.
Boundaries.
You don't have to cut everyone out, but you can be like.
Another topic for another day.
We should totally talk about that. Okay, should I share my...
Yes. What is a life lesson?
Mm-hmm. I think I relate a lot to what Caro was saying earlier, like putting myself first. And I was going to say that, but obviously I don't want to be talking about that again. So my second biggest lesson, I think, is realizing that I'm rare. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
I think... my whole life since I was little, I've been trying to fit in so bad. Like trends, whatever. I want to be like everybody else because then no one's judging you. No one's calling you this and that or she's weird or she's whatever. You know, because I think I've always feared judgment from other people. And being authentic, you have to be brave to be authentic. Yeah. Like it comes with that. And I don't think I've been authentic for the majority of my life up until this last year or two, honestly. I've always been trying to fit in. And I feel like that affected me in so many ways. We're getting a call. Is that an alarm?
No, I did get a call at 10:30 p.m.
Who's calling you at 10:30 p.m.?
That's a booty call, Cody.
Is it an emergency?
Not chill.
Is it an emergency?
No, we're good.
Cool. What was I saying?
I hope not.
You were saying how it
being rare.
And how
it affected me in so many different ways of my life that like it lowered my self-esteem. I lost myself, didn't know who I was, and then just like it's a snowball effect. Like I don't know who I am. I lost my essence
because we just tried to fit into these molds that society has placed for us, and this kind of plays on with the episode we talked about last week about how. Having been Latinas growing up here in the United States, we're actively trying to not be different.
Yeah.
We're actively trying to fit in, not stand out too much. And then until our adult years, we're like, actually, we are freaking awesome. Like, we are beautiful and different, and we have el sazon, you know? And like,
that's honestly, thinking about it now, like, that's the one thing I would tell myself. Like going back 10 years ago, I would tell a 17-year-old Desi, like, you are rare and it's amazing. Yeah. Like, you don't have to be like this girl and you don't have to act like this because what's the point? Right. It's boring to be like other people.
So boring.
It's awful.
Like no offense to my Provo friends, but like the girls that I went to college with, like, sorry, like you guys, and this is not everybody, just like you. Okay, fine. You look at Provo girls, and they're all the same. They all are doing the same exact things. They're all dressing the same. And, like, where is our originality? Like, where is our authenticity? Like, yes, do you, be yourself. And it does take courage. Yeah. It does take balls to be like, I'm going to wear this, and nobody else is wearing it. But this is how I feel. I'm going to be a trendsetter. Yes. We are trendsetters.
Honestly, that's such an important lesson to learn. And I'm like, I have that deep in my heart, and I will be teaching my kids to be.
I need my 11-year-old students to know that too.
Tell them.
I do. I'm like, guys, do not be like everybody else. You can be yourself. Like,
and for some reason, when you hear that when you're 11, it's like, what do you know about life? No, it's cool to be like everybody else.
My students truly always look at me like, you don't know what you're talking about, Miss Gallis. And I'm like, oh, if I could be 11 years old with the knowledge I have now. I'd be a weird 11-year-old.
No one would want to hang out.
Taxes,
They'd be
classes.
like, that girl over there,
she's just special.
Don't talk to her.
No, honestly,
Isn't that
it's
crazy?
just, I think accepting your awareness, is that a word?
Yeah. Your uniqueness.
Can help you, your uniqueness. It's can help you in so many ways.
And it's not just a physical thing, I think.
No.
It's the hobbies.
Your opinions.
Right. The books you like, the movies you want to watch, everything.
Yeah. I think I would have been happier. The last 10 years of my life, I would have been happier if I lived like I live now.
Yeah.
Because I've learned that lesson and I put it into practice for sure today.
I want to throw in one last lesson, because if 28-year-old me is looking at 18-year-old me, and 18-year-old me, like, poor girl, I love her, but she just did not know anything. And I actually want to talk about this one day when we talk about college a lot, because college was the first year was just absolute
tragedy,
just a disaster for me. But if I could say something to little Stacy, would be like, it will all work out. And I know that's cliche and silly and just super
annoying
to hear. But truly, I went through it in a lot of ways, and I was like, this is it. There's just it's never going to be good again. Nothing is going to work out.
This is the end.
I am going to
at 20 years old,
poor and sad and lonely and awful, and no, even though things didn't necessarily work out the way I originally planned, life is so good now.
And a lot of the times, life turns out to be better than we've ever imagined.
Oh my gosh, so much better. Yeah. If 18-year-old me saw 28-year-old me, they're like, what? We don't have what we thought we did, but we have all those other things.
And much more.
And the best of friends.
So I was actually talking to someone about it this weekend, because general conference, right? And it can bring a lot of mixed feelings to a lot of people. And for me, it was like, man, I remember when I would sit through all general conferences and take notes and study each talk. And now I think I listen to a couple. And I don't feel bad, which is progress for me. Mm-hmm. But I was talking to my friend, I was like, man, if Hermana Villalobos knew what I was doing now, I think she would be super disappointed. And she was like, I think she would actually look at you now and be like, I am so proud of who you are and what you have achieved and who you are right now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. I thought my life would be different, but I'm so glad it didn't turn out the way everyone was expecting me to have it, and that now I got to choose this. And I am grateful that I was taught good values, because those decisions have put me where I am now. But I know I got here with that support, but also with my bravery, my conviction of no, I want to do this for myself. I want this type of lifestyle. I'm working towards it, but it's crazy to see how quickly I got to where I wanted to be once I started choosing myself first.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Life is a learning experience.
And we're always learning, whether it be little microphone things or big, huge,
life-changing situations.
Things. Yeah.
And
it's okay.
Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say, and sometimes it's okay that these lessons, have to repeatedly come up. Sometimes we're I have to learn this lesson for the 17th time.
I guess I haven't learned it yet.
Because I'm just not a master at this craft yet. But
I hate that.
And sometimes the hardest parts of life teach us the coolest lessons or the bigger lessons. Yeah. And I think somewhere I read some Instagram quote saying the most beautiful times of life were also the hardest times of life, and that's true, because I feel the times where I suffered the most and overcame those things and learned cool things, those are the parts that I that stick out more.
Well, because then you can look at yourself and be like, I can't believe I did this.
Yeah.
I'm amazing. It builds your confidence to learn as you go.
Yeah. And nothing has torn us down enough for us to not be here. We're here. We've overcome
and it won't ever.
Yeah, I think when you actually know what it feels like to trust yourself and make decisions based on like how you feel, or like decisions for yourself, it's like it literally is empowering. Like you really do feel like, oh, I can choose anything I want, like for my life. Like I'm not relying on someone to give me this life. Like I made this decision and it was kind of messy, but look where it put me, and I can make another hard decision.
Yeah.
And after that hard decision, a harder decision, or, and it just makes you stronger. It's cheesy and...
I know. I think a lot of these things are cheesy, but at the same time, they're so true. And
it is.
They're what's pushing us through this crazy life.
Yeah. Everyone is learning the same. Like, it's crazy. We're all learning the same things.
Yeah. The lessons may, like, present themselves in different ways. But at the end of the day, it's like we are all growing in similar ways, especially us who have similar backgrounds, similar experiences.
It's crazy.
But
I think we're doing good.
Hey, we're killing it.
Yeah. And we have so much more to learn.
And our sound is probably going to be so awesome in this episode. So shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for being here and like supporting us. We have received so much love, and I am genuine. My heart is so full from just like hearing comments and people saying like, wow, I wish I had this. And I'm like,
I know.
Me too. I wish I had some girls that were like, hey, life is going to be kind of crazy, but we're going to be here for you. And like, we're here. So everyone listening, especially the young girls, I think about 18-year-old us. Like, it's going to be okay. We're going to be here. We're going to make it.
Life gets good.
Life is good, and it gets better all the time. But yeah, we are really grateful for all the support that we've had. I know we have been overcoming all these like learning curves with technology and sounds and cameras and microphones and Instagram and all that stuff, but we're gonna do this, and we're gonna keep learning, and we hope that you stay with us and follow along.
One thing though,
yeah,
I'm kind of glad that we struggled, because now we can teach how this works.
Yeah,
because if it was easy from the beginning, we would have never known that we can't film in 4K. We would have never known that our
app really filming in 4K, and our camera kept dying every like 10 minutes.
It was overheating.
Like our first episode was chunks of videos.
But aren't you glad that you know this now? So like if you have a friend starting a podcast, you can be like, hey, you need to buy this type of microphone, you need this program, you need this camera, and it needs to work in this way. Now you can teach because you've learned.
Yeah. And that's not just for podcasts, that's for life. Yeah. All right. With that being said, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
We love you all so much.
See you next
week. Keep commenting on Instagram and stuff, and we will see you next week.
Yes.
Ciao.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
And join us next week for our next episode.